This is the last time we're going to do this until the end of the year, when obviously we're going to have our final list of what the best and the worst movies of 2015 were. This video is what ties everything in. We talked about what we didn't like so far. We talked about what we did like so far. Now we're going to talk about what we're anticipating for the remainder of the year. Rules state, as always, that just as long as the movie is in this calendar year, it is allowed to be on this list. I believe that if we wanted to make a rule, like an addendum saying, oh, if I wanted to, I could put Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice on this list. No, we're not doing that. This is movies from 2015. And basically, the cutoff date is December 31st. So anything before that, as long as it's at least a limited release, it still counts. So I think we're solidified on that. So we're going to go ahead and start. So, AJ, I want you to start us off. What is your honorable mention for most anticipated for the remainder of the year?
My honorable mention is Southpaw.
Nice.
Which is Antoine Fuqua's boxing movie with Jake Gyllenhaal, which has 2 or 3 trailers out now, which doesn't help me. And I don't necessarily buy into this sort of thing, because that's what you do when you're promoting a movie. But
yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal recently tried to tell people that this is the best movie that Antoine Fuqua has ever made. Mind you, his filmography is not extremely impressive. The best movie on it is Training Day. So,
yeah,
given how you feel about that, I think it's the best movie of its year, and it's great. But apart from that, there's not a very high bar.
I gotcha.
But still, I just think it's a relatively intriguing story, and just the fact that Gyllenhaal stars in it is pretty much anything to... He's got that, Everest, and Demolition all coming this year. But of his 3 coming, that's the one that kind of stands out to me, as it'll probably maybe not be the best movie, but probably his best performance of the 3, if I had to guess.
And he looks like a boxer, too, so he has that look that the aesthetic works.
Demolition is a Jean-Marc Vallée movie.
Yeah, that's the one thing I completely keep forgetting about that movie.
But I heard that his part is not that big, so I don't know. So I'm guessing this will be the movie where he really, really brings it this year.
Okay.
Even though he does, like, every time anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I guess I'm going through my 10 now.
Yes, you are.
Alright. My number 10 is The Program, which is the Lance Armstrong, the very long-awaited Lance Armstrong movie that stars Ben Foster, that's by Stephen Frears.
Wow. I forgot about the existence of this movie.
And it's actually about, a lot of people are saying, like, is it going to kind of, is it going to treat him as a hero, or is it going to glorify him and stuff like that? I believe the movie is actually about his drug exposure. Because the reporter that did it is Chris O'Dowd.
Oh, wow.
Who's the other star of this movie. And that in itself is enough to make me really, really interested. I mean, Stephen Frears kind of has like a hit or miss thing, because he did movies like The Queen, which are, you kind of have to be into that particular genre, or just awards stuff in general to take to a movie like The Queen.
Pretty much.
But he's also got movies like The Grifters, and he did, his most recent movie was Philomena, which I really loved.
We both did.
So, this has a lot going for it, and I'm thinking, like, I've obviously been a huge outspoken fan of his for quite some time now. And if we can actually get Chris O'Dowd into an awards conversation, and a biopic of sorts by Stephen Frears is a good place to start. Because people are also... I mean, obviously Ben Foster, of course, really... His career really deserves this right now.
Agreed.
Because he's been around forever doing great stuff. And he's always been that actor that a lot of people like to point out that say, he's... underrated, or nobody really knows who he is, but when they see him in movies, they love him, they just don't know his name, or really give him the appreciation he really needs. So, this kind of part is a really big deal, especially for his career, so it'll be fun to see how that pans out. And I have a lot of hope for it. Number 9 is Bridge of Spies.
Yes.
It comes out on my birthday. It's directed by Spielberg. It's co-written by the Coen brothers, and it stars Tom Hanks.
That's all you need right there.
The end. It is a Cold War movie. I think I heard that there is like kind of a courtroom drama aspect to it a little bit. I'm not quite positive. I'm kind of vague on the plot. I hear Mark Rylance has a really, really good part in it. And yeah, there's not I mean, it is one of those movies that could totally be like, there could be too much going into stuff. Like, the Coen brothers were also co-writers on Unbroken, which I really loved, but a lot of people shot down. No pun intended.
I knew that was coming.
I didn't mean to really.
I know you didn't.
And then,
they don't.
And of course, you know, Spielberg recently made War Horse, which is a fucking drag. But he did.
What did you say?
He did make Tintin the same year.
Oh, Tintin was so awesome.
So it's. In general, it kind of turns into, because I'm sure Tom Hanks will bring it out as always.
Oh yeah.
It's just a matter of which Spielberg we're getting, and the Coen brothers' involvement may be overblown. I'm not sure. I know they're legit credited, but there is also a third writer, I believe, and I don't remember off the top of my head.
Matt Sharman.
Okay. So yeah, this movie is not bulletproof. I can already sense that. But I've got a good feeling about it.
Agreed.
My number 8 is Sicario, which debuted at Cannes. It was in competition. And to my understanding, it's basically like a mix between Silence of the Lambs and Savages.
The trailer comes off that way.
And it stars Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro, and Josh Brolin. And I think Victor Garber's in that too.
Yeah.
Probably a couple of other people that I don't know about. And it just looks, I saw the poster, the yellow poster with like the black, and it just seems like something that could be, the director of it is the guy that did Prisoners and Enemy.
Yep.
So that's a good track record to be going on right now. The only thing that's kind of holding me back is the presence of Emily Blunt, who I'm not a big fan of. I would have maybe gone with Britt Marling or something in that part, but even so, there's a lot going into this movie that it's just too much to not be intriguing. Especially with the presence of Benicio del Toro and Josh Brolin are like, they're the kind of actors that are like really buddy in real life too. Yeah. Like they sit around and like talk about Sean Penn and stuff. And seeing them together, I am sure is going to be. I am almost positive it's already happened, but I can't think of Inherent Vice. But I think there's another one, and I'm just drawing a total blank. But seeing this happen, I think is going to be. I'm not quite sure what it is. I don't know if it's going to be more kind of grimy, but in some weird way, elegant way, like Silence of the Lambs, or if it's just going to be totally fucking crazy, like Savages. I don't know which one it is.
It comes off like Savages in the trailer.
Or if it's a little bit of both, I don't know. But either way, it's exciting.
I agree completely.
My number 7 is Black Mass, which is the Whitey Bulger movie starring Johnny Depp.
Yes.
Where it actually seems like he's giving a shit again.
Oh, like, big time.
Like, he's got Pirates 5 going on, which has got a whole bunch of problems with it. And he's been really in this, I just don't give a fuck. I just want to put on my costumes and my makeup and do my same old shit thing. And everybody is pointing to this movie like this
he's back.
This might be his thing.
He's back.
And there's a whole cast list of movies. So much so that I keep forgetting who's in it. There's obviously Depp. Then there's like Benedict Cumberbatch and Peter Sarsgaard and
Corey Stoll, Dakota Johnson.
Yes, there's another big one. Kevin Bacon.
Yep.
And to top all this off, and it's also really intriguing because of the whole Whitey Bulger was the foundation for Frank Costello in The Departed.
Yep.
So that's really intriguing. But the thing that's probably selling me on this the most, even more than that cast list and more than the character himself, is the director is Scott Cooper.
Yes.
And this is his third movie after Crazy Heart and Out of the Furnace. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Crazy Heart, and Out of the Furnace is just a lot of people are kind of indifferent to it or just don't like it.
Yeah.
I am insane crazy for Out of the Furnace. When we did our top of 2013, I think it was on my list.
I think so.
It would be high. It would probably be at least 3 spots higher now.
Really?
So
Rewatchability has
it's
worked for you,
really
then.
it's really a movie that grows like really really well. And yeah, I did have the opportunity to watch it again, and it just gets better as time goes on. So this has I think this. I know you set yourself up for a fall saying stuff like this, but this is one of those movies where I can comfortably say I think it actually has too much going for it to go wrong. I can
see that.
I know that's kind of a bad way to think, but I got a really good feeling about it. So hopefully that pays off. My number 6 is 99 Homes, a movie you probably heard me mention a few times in the Oscar predictions videos last year, because the release date, it played at TIFF, and then it had an uncertain release date, and it's September of this year. So people who saw it at TIFF seem to like it, and then it's been coming out in other countries, I think, and it's getting a really, really great response. And basically what it is it's a drama whose the main stars are, I guess it's some kind of, I don't know if rivalry or battle of wits are the right terms, but there are two opposing people here, and the actors are Andrew Garfield and Michael Shannon.
Wow. And
I actually asked somebody who saw it. I was predicting Michael Shannon last year a couple of times before I knew the movie's actual release date. And is that still possible? And with the September release date and Shannon's constant greatness that's been going on, it wasn't like, not that there's any experts on this.
True.
Even though people will claim to be if they work for a magazine or website or whatever.
Eddie Redmayne's friends.
But apparently it's a possibility. It is not totally, Michael Shannon is good enough in this movie where it's getting people's attention.
Are we starting predictions next month?
Yes, at the end of next month.
Wow.
So, that's all I need to know. I'm not even quite positive. I think the plot is something about real estate. I'm not totally positive on that, but all I know is that it stars Andrew Garfield and Michael Shannon, and it's giving Michael Shannon yet another really, really juicy part. That's all I need to know for this to be that high on this list.
I can understand that completely.
Alright, my number 5 is Spectre.
Yeah.
There's not a lot going into me anticipating this a lot.
It's got one major thing right away.
Obviously, they're building up that Christoph Waltz is the villain. And he may or may not be Blofeld.
Yes.
Just like Cumberbatch may or may not have been fucking Khan. And we saw how that went. How many times did Cumberbatch say he was not Khan? I am a criminal named John Harrison. I do not know this Khan.
I remember that.
But anyway, yeah, because apparently the name of Waltz's character is in the novel is the guy that trained Bond to ski or something. So it just sounds like some in-joke name meant to cover up a real name.
It's a work.
So I don't know.
It's all a work.
But I really, really think Casino Royale is so overrated. I really don't get the love for that movie. And Quantum of Solace is kind of a piece of shit.
Yes,
but
very much so.
Skyfall was so good and brought everything so back to the way it should be that is enough to where if it keeps in this vein, and they brought Mendez back, so that's a really good start. They don't have Deakins this time, but they do still have Mendez. And the presence of Mendez and the presence of Waltz, and the fact, obviously, Ray Fiennes is going to have a bigger part now.
True.
All of this is coming together in a way to where I think this one should be really good. And the fact that the title itself tells you, the fact that they're going into Spectre territory now with the Craig storyline, I think is going to really, really, this and Skyfall together, I think, will be two that go together really, really well and kind of have the same kind of, thing going on.
I'm not
which
a
is
Bond.
a really, really good thing.
I'm not a Bond guy, but this trailer actually really excited me when I saw it.
Number 4, this would probably be a lot higher under a different circumstance. But even so, as it is now, I'm really, really excited.
Okay.
And I'm talking about Steve Jobs.
Yes.
I hate that goddamn title, first off. I really feel like a movie like this could have come up with a title a bit more creative. Secondly, there's gonna be that fucking thing where everybody says, "Didn't we just have a Jobs movie?" Like this was on the Steve Jobs trailer was on Magic Mike, and the very first thing I heard after that trailer ended was some dude go, "Wasn't there already a Steve Jobs movie?" But the thing about it is, listen, that was some throwaway movie that starred Ashton Kutcher and Josh Gad, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Listen to this. It's Danny Boyle. The cast, among many others, are Fassbender, Seth Rogen, and Kate Winslet. Seth Rogen kind of joining that Franco Jonah Hill club of, hey guys, I'm kind of next in line, maybe?
Yeah.
If the part is juicy enough. But that's not all. Did I mention Danny Boyle?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We have Danny Boyle doing this movie. And to my understanding, it's an Aaron Sorkin script.
Yep.
That he had been working on for quite some time. Because this was going on at the same time the other movie was. But then once that movie came out and problems arose, this one kind of fell off, and that Sorkin script was just kind of there, like, will they do it or will they not? Will they just say fuck it because that other one's out there?
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, the studio said, this is a fucking Sorkin script. Let's put it to life.
Yeah, no lie.
Let's get these words into people's mouths as soon as possible. Once again, cannot be as great as it would have been. For a while there, it was David Fincher and Christian Bale.
Yeah, oh my god.
That is something that we'll always desire that we will never have. And yeah, Fassbender is kind of a weird choice. But
he looks the part.
And a lot of people like to give Danny Boyle shit for being too flashy, but I love Danny Boyle, actually.
Same here.
And I think he really finds a way to make the flashiness work within his movies. I've never thought it seemed out of place. He knows exactly how to do it just the right way. But the really interesting thing about this, I really, really hope this is true. I haven't heard anything saying against it, and I've heard many, many sources say this is true. It is to my understanding, if you're into this kind of thing, this will be a good thing, but if you're not, then I guess beware. But it's to my understanding that this movie, in its entirety, is 3 long scenes.
Wow.
And that's it. I think that's a really intriguing concept. And I'm wondering what a director like Danny Boyle would do with something like that.
Yeah.
So, and this is the guy that, made a movie about a dude trapped under a rock and it got nominated for Best Picture, rightfully. So,
For a movie about a guy being on a game show doing retrospect, he got an Oscar for that one too.
I'm really interested to see what he can do with an Aaron Sorkin script with that kind of setup.
That screams Oscar right there.
Yeah, and I think Seth Rogen's gonna kill it here.
Oh, I do too.
I have a lot of faith that he's gonna do it because when, he's really good with comedy, but then he had Take This Waltz, which he was so great in.
Yes,
and I think he's really gonna do this. So
he's gonna join Jonah Hill in the supporting actor club.
Yeah, we had Franco get nominated for doing a Danny Boyle movie. We had Jonah Hill nominated for working with an Aaron Sorkin script. Rogen's got both.
Yeah, I know. That basically tells you there's a good chance he's walking out with something this year.
So that totally just occurred to me now.
That's awesome.
I wasn't thinking about that before.
That's totally awesome too. Wow.
Okay. My number 3 is The Revenant.
Yeah.
Which I read the book for a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Which is really... I'm really curious how it's going to be cinematically. But I'm sure it can really be pulled off. It's obviously Alejandro González Iñárritu's follow-up to Birdman. And it is a story of revenge of a dude left for dead after he's attacked by a bear. And the cast list for this movie, the person seeking revenge is Leo DiCaprio. The person he's seeking revenge on is Tom Hardy.
My God. He's going to have a great year.
That alone is worthy of being this high in anticipation.
Agreed.
But I'm also after reading the book, I'm just really curious how it is, because it's a really well-told story in the book, and I'm sure it's been translated well, I imagine. Iñárritu actually did it with, I think, 1 or 2 co-writers. and it'll be something really, really different, which is really interesting because you look at his other movies, and then you think Birdman was something totally different for him. This kind of seems to be going in that direction also.
Mm.
So, the same cinematographer, too. I think he could very likely win 3 years in a row. Yeah.
Wow.
So, that'll be interesting. And, to put it mildly. And there's other things that are really intriguing me about this, but there are spoilers from the book, so I won't say them, but I'm just really, really intrigued by how this is going to turn out on the screen, and I think it's with knowing Inarritu and the way he kind of adapts and the way just from what I heard from the set, apart from the whole he and Hardy apparently tried to beat the shit out of each other thing, and all the going over schedule thing. Hardy is still pissed off that he had to drop out of Suicide Squad because this movie's schedule went so over.
Yeah.
But I heard that Inarritu took a lot of liberties with the story, so it'll be interesting to see. Knowing that going in, it won't be like, oh, they changed so much. It'll be intriguing to find out what he did differently. So, yeah, there's a lot of things to look forward to there. And a lot of people... I don't think this is going to be a huge showcase for DiCaprio, given the type of role that it is. He has his throat ripped out. He can't talk for the entire first half. So it's kind of like his performance, if it's like the book, will likely be like Maya Wasikowska's performance in Tracks, if he had to crawl instead of walk. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how it'll be. It'll be like a physical showcase for him, and that should get plenty of. That should impress plenty of people. But
true.
As far as being like because when you think DiCaprio, everybody immediately jumps to, is this going to be the time he wins? Everybody likes to jump to that immediately every year. I don't think that's going to be the case. But it'll be very interesting just in general to see how this one turns out. With adapting this kind of book and all the production troubles and who's behind it and just... There's so much going into this movie that just is so intriguing.
One thing you told me about it kind of steers me away from it personally, but it does sound good.
DiCaprio has to kill a snake. Oh my god.
Sorry, it's how it is with me. You know that.
Okay.
At least he killed him.
Okay. My number 2 has to be Star Wars. Obviously, I just did that whole video where you heard my whole history with Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't watch that video, I'm telling you now, I have a whole history with Star Wars.
You do?
Star Wars is basically where my love of movies began, both watching them in theaters and wanting to pursue the business itself, and just, in general, just everything started with Star Wars in 1997 when they released the original trilogy. And like I don't even hate the prequels the way a lot of people do. So the only direction we can go is up with. We have our original cast. We have J.J. Abrams, who clearly is at risk given his name, what they're going to call him if people don't like this movie. But the thing about it, there's not really a whole the new cast that they've got, along with the people that we already know and love, with Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford all here. Peter Mayhew's still doing Chewie. I think Anthony Daniels and Kenny Baker are yeah, everybody's here.
Everyone's back.
Then we've got Oscar Isaac and Adam Driver and fucking
Andy Serkis.
Yes, I knew that was Gleason, Lupita Nyong'o, I think is in it.
Mm-hmm. Max von Sydow.
Really?
Yeah.
So yes, I really have no idea what the plot is. I don't know. Does anybody know what the plot is?
You don't really get anything from the trailer. It's basically just showing you really cool things.
But really though, I could have just said my number 2 is Star Wars, and
that's it. It speaks for itself.
That's all you need to say.
Yeah.
And
I feel bad mine's so low.
Do you honestly? Surely most of the people watching this video have watched enough videos for me to not even have to say this.
Yeah, no lie.
Okay. but I'll do it anyway because for completion's sake.
Yes.
I think it's pretty abundantly clear that my most anticipated movie of the past 3 years
No lie.
is The Hateful Eight. Now, I was a little concerned, like everybody, when it was Tarantino going immediately back into Western.
Mm.
But number one, just don't question him. And number two, there is the whole thing about this is like a real Western. Like, I mean, yeah, from people that read the script, it is getting a lot of complaints to where it's like it's basically Reservoir Dogs in the Django setting. But the thing about it is, when he made Django, he considered it a Southern as opposed to a Western because of
Yeah, I remember that.
the whole storyline. And then there was the whole thing where Kurt Russell was supposed to be in Django, and then he left the set because he didn't think it was enough of a Western. He thought it strayed too much from the Western genre for his liking.
Mm.
But Kurt Russell is in this one.
Yeah, he is.
So it kind of gives you the idea that, and Kurt Russell knows what it's like to be on the set of a real Western. So if he came to this one ready and prepared to be in a Western, that means you're going to get like a real fucking Western. Not that we take anything away from Django for being something different, but if you were looking for a real Western when you went to Django, you'll be getting it here.
Yeah.
And while we are Waltzless, which is a tragedy,
It sucks.
we've got plenty of people that everybody's been wanting to see Tarantino bring back. We have the people he's been working with consistently, like Samuel L. Jackson, who is kind of basically the closest thing we get to a lead, is what I'm under the impression of.
Mm.
We have a couple of people returning from Django with Walton Goggins and Bruce Dern. Then we have some faces that it's been way too long since we've seen with Michael Madsen and Tim Roth.
Yes.
Tim Roth looking like he's basically doing the part that Waltz would have done.
Oh, yeah.
Channing Tatum is in there. Jennifer Jason Leigh has a really juicy part. Something she's needed for a while now. I'm sure I'm missing somebody. I think Zoe Bell is in there somewhere.
I believe so.
Damian Bashir is in it
Yes.
as well. And that's all I have to say. It's Tarantino's new movie. That's it. This could have like nobodies in it, and it would be the same.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a bone. It's this mixture of the people that he's been working with, and then the people he hasn't worked with for a while, and new faces where you're really interested to see how they work, how they go with one of his scripts or in one of his movies.
Yeah.
And yes. But once again, like Star Wars, I could have just said my number one is Tarantino's new movie, and people would go,
Okay.
of course.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Move on. So that's what mine is.
Speaking of moving on.
And I'm really
And
I'm really hoping, like, when I said that I like the movies on my best of the year list right now, but if we could entirely replace them, that would be great. And I have the 10 I am hoping can maybe possibly work us closer to that direction. And there's always, room for surprises, I hope.
Can you imagine right now if we're doing this video at the beginning of next year and you say my number one film for 2015 is still SpongeBob?
I would... There would be a little pride in it because because it's SpongeBob, and that would be kind of fun. That would just be kind of great. But that'd be really depressing if that's...
Yeah, I see what you're talking
That's
about.
the top of the year. So, yeah.
Well, my list is a little bit different than his. Somewhat. There's a couple things that are the same. Not the same placement this time as last video where we basically had the same exact movie and the same exact placement, when neither of which could see each other's list beforehand. And I got my tablet here, so I don't look like a fool, so we're good with that. I'm going to go with this, and we're going to roll with it. I feel really guilty about having this so low on my list. My honorable mention is Star Wars. First off, this is the product of Disney buying the everything that George Lucas has ever done, basically buying the Star Wars contracts and pretty much turning it into a new land that's going to be opening up in Hollywood studios in the year, God knows who knows at this point. But it's going to happen. And that also led to a new trilogy, and it sounds like this is the start, and apparently from what I'm hearing, Colin Trevorrow is going to be directing the next one. The ninth one, that's what I meant to say.
I don't know if it's 8 or one of the spin-offs, or Rian Johnson has one of them, I think.
I think Johnson has the spin-off, but I'm not positive. In the Boba Fett movie?
No, I think Johnson might have 8.
Okay, then that's a nice little trifecta there of directors.
I'm not positive on any of this. But...
Yeah, I know Trevorrow's doing 9. I know that for a fact. That's pretty much solidified, but everything else ends up in the air.
Which means it risks being overblown and overrated.
It also risks being completely hated by everyone, which is something that would suck, because I love Tomorrowland, but I know I'm in the minority here. So yeah, J.J. Abrams is back in the sci-fi franchise again, and he is taking on the biggest sci-fi film of all time, and one of the biggest movies of all time, and putting his own spin on it. But luckily, he got everybody to come along for the ride. Like, everybody's back. I mean, he's working with...
That was subtle.
Yeah, I dropped it. It kind of... That looked horrible, sorry. I mean, he's writing it with Lawrence Kasdan again, and I mean,
yeah.
that's a big plus right there for in the right direction. The fact that they got everybody back from the original cast, and like AJ said, you've got like Oscar Isaac and Lupita Nyong'o and Adam Driver, and you have them now come along for the ride as well. I think this is going to be a fan's dream and a movie filmgoer's dream as well. I think this will appeal to everyone. I think that you can say all you want about the box office, and we have. And the conversation always comes back to this. Well, Jurassic World's got the box office. And, let's see, Fury 7 is the box office. This is all only the case until Star Wars comes out. Because Star Wars is going to not only break box office records, I think it's going to just break overall records. But if it fails, which I don't see any way it will, but if it would fail, I could only imagine what kind of backlash. I have a feeling J.J. Abrams would be, like, strung up in a public square.
It'll be, regardless, it'll be a movie that has a lot of repeat.
Oh yeah,
well, so
absolutely.
That's what really gets movies to their high spots. Did I hear correctly that Adam Driver's playing the villain?
I believe so.
That's kind of cool.
That is kind of awesome. I don't know anything more than that. I just think it sounds amazing. So yeah, I'm gonna go with The Force Awakens as the honorable mention. I'd like it to be a lot higher, but I got other things in mind. One of which being my number 10. My number 10 is Yoga Hosers. It is the second in the True North trilogy from Kevin Smith, since he has started becoming a different type of director than before. Obviously, Tusk was first, and then we've got Moose Jaws bringing up the rear at the end. So, I really like the characters of Harley Quinn Smith and Johnny Depp's daughter. They basically run in a convenience store in Tusk. And this is basically their story. And Guy Lapointe, Johnny Depp, back again. And I think this is going to be really fun. I really do. I'm really curious to see how this movie's going to go over. I'm a big Kevin Smith mark. Everyone knows that. And I will not ever, apologize for it. Because I proudly say I paid for Tusk. And there's not many people that have that option. There's no one in this area that did, because it never came anywhere close. But this looks really good, and it definitely deserves to be on my list. Maybe not to be necessarily high on my list, but it's a movie that I'm definitely anticipating, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes.
I can't believe he's actually calling the third movie Moose Jaws.
Yeah, as of right now, that's what it's called. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. And then you've got the Andy Claus movie too, which is coming out, the Krampus film. I'm looking forward to that. And then obviously we're looking at Mallrats, even though I really don't like the title, and Clerks 3. So a lot of great stuff coming from Kev very soon. So you probably see him right now at Comic-Con if you're watching this video, or you probably did see him at Comic-Con this weekend. Even though it's
I'm pretty sure he's just permanently camped out at Comic-Con.
It's Monday, yeah. Whole H is now his new residence. Okay, my number 9 is actually going to be Steve Jobs. Looking at the trailer, I'm one of the ones that actually did not hate the Ashton Kutcher Jobs movie as much as everyone in the world seemed to. I'm not saying it was great. I'm saying Kutcher did a serviceable job. I mean, other than he's done a lot of piss-poor romantic comedy movies and romantic, like, dramedy movies. I mean, it just doesn't work. But he's got an interesting personality, and I think that it's an untapped potential, and Jobs tried to work, but it didn't. Which is a shame, because he really tried. You could definitely tell he really tried. Now, we have Aaron Sorkin writing the script. And I really think that that is the key here. Sorkin's dialogue coming out of anyone is gold. I don't think anybody could screw up Sorkin dialogue. Is there anybody that comes to your mind?
Not directly. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's fucked it up, but I can't.
It's hard to do. I'll just say that. It's hard to do. And Michael Fassbender looks like Steve Jobs. Like, in the trailer, when he's wearing his black sweater with the high collar, I mean, he looks identical to Steve Jobs in that picture. And welcome to the supporting actor nomination club, because Seth Rogen is about to break out in something that's not a comedy that everyone's going to go watch. This is going to be just what Jonah Hill did, twice. So Seth Rogen has a ways to go, but stuff like Take This Waltz, like you said, is...
I'd really rather not see Seth Rogen publicly masturbate, but...
Oh, God. Yeah.
I'm sure he's done it in real life.
Yeah. Late nights on the set of The Green Hornet. I don't know why I jumped to that one, but I did.
I don't think we're giving him enough credit as far as his control over something like that. But...
Yeah, you never know. But yeah, the movie looks awesome, and I think it's got awards written all over it, and as you shall see with my predictions starting next month, I have a feeling that it's going to do quite well in nomination season. We'll see. My number 8 is actually going to be Bridge of Spies. Seeing this trailer, I was like hooked from the beginning. Never seen a role I haven't liked Tom Hanks in. I don't think there's anything he's ever done I haven't liked him in. At least a little bit. I mean, he's Jimmy Dugan. He's Walt Disney. And it's just from one extreme to another, basically.
I was gonna say you're just not gonna say Forrest Gump, I guess.
No, I'm going with those for that sake of argument. And I love everything Tom Hanks has ever done. I mean, I haven't seen a bad film of his, and I think that he's back to greatness again. You got Captain Phillips, and now you're going to have him back possibly in award season again with Bridge of Spies.
His bad ones are out there. They're just mostly in the 80s.
Yeah, I didn't watch a lot of stuff in the 80s.
But once he made big, that's when everything got better.
I agree with that. I mean, cast members you did mention this movie. Amy Ryan's in it. Alan Alda's in the movie. And yeah, it looks really good. I mean, I like spy movies. It is like somewhat of a courtroom drama because he's playing a lawyer. So I'm really curious to see how this goes. It should be a really entertaining film. And like, it's Tom Hanks, so you can't go wrong with Tom Hanks ever.
Lately.
Yeah.
Since. I'm still saying with that, since Big and forward.
My number? That's a V there's. My number 7 is Straight Outta Compton. I'm really super excited for this movie. It's F. Gary Gray, which is cool. I like that.
Because he did Friday.
Exactly. And that's what endears me to believe that it's actually going to be worth something. And you have great casting. You have the great story of NWA. And I know it reminds me of CB4, but still, that may be part of it too. But the music's iconic. The characters, the people, the real people in NWA were iconic, and I'm really curious to see how they pull it off. I think it's going to be really good, and I think it's going to do really well with the public.
And there's the interesting casting choice of Ice Cube's own son as him.
Yeah, exactly. You got Giamatti's in there. He's got the throwaway record executive role, but
I heard the nickname of the guy that he's playing was White Devil, I think.
Yeah, and you got Keith Stansfield playing Snoop, so that's really awesome. Just reading that right there, I was like, this movie should be higher based upon that factor alone. And you got Biggie, you got Tupac, this is this is the 90s right here. This is a movie that's going to take us back. Like, if you remember how great the soundtrack was for Dope, take that and make it into a whole movie. Like, Notorious was an awesome film. I don't know if people missed out on it.
To get brought up.
I
forget it.
Yeah, I love Notorious. But, yeah, I'm really excited for Straight Outta Compton. I think it's going to be a really entertaining film. It'd probably be a tad bit controversial, given the fact of what it is. But I think the people that want to take to it will. And I think that it's going to do... I don't know if it's going to do, like buku's bucks, but I think it's going to do quite well for itself.
I was trying to remember... I don't remember. Actually, just ignore what I was about to say. I probably shouldn't bring it up.
All right.
Yeah, it's touchy.
Yeah, okay. All right. My number 6 is actually a movie I just recently remembered was coming out this year. And we actually just got a trailer for it, so I'm really endeared to it. My number 6 is Creed. The Apollo Creed movie with Michael B. Jordan.
Did you forget his name for a second?
Yeah, kind of. It's got Sylvester Stallone in it as well. It looks like it's going to work really well, and I'm a boxing mark anyway. I love boxing movies. Like, The Great White Hype is one of my favorite movies that I won't apologize for. And I really think this movie's going to work really well. It's basically pretty much the successor to Rocky Balboa in all essence.
I heard it's in that same vein.
And it's Ryan Coogler, too. That's another thing that's exciting, too. So I think that it's got a lot of things great going for it. It's got Tessa Thompson from Dear White People in it as well. So I thought that was her in the trailer. I wasn't positive, but...
I heard that, I guess some people just thought it was going to be a throwaway cameo, but I guess, Stallone is actually more... Rocky, in this case, is now taking on the Mickey part for him.
Yep, exactly right.
And so they said that this is actually probably going to be like a really, this could be a real acting role for him going back to when he did the first movie.
Yeah, this should be really good. I mean, Felicia Rashad's in this movie, too. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff about this movie, and I really think it's going to find that Rocky audience, and that Rocky audience is strong and powerful. So
I just had when you said Felicia Rashad was in it. The first image I had of it was like Michael B. Jordan on the rope, and it's sitting in a big bin in Walmart with a $1 sticker on it, and it says starring Felicia Rashad.
Oh my God!
But I don't think we're getting that kind of thing, so we're good.
I don't either. My number 5 is actually going to be Black Mass. I've been excited for this movie ever since I first heard about it. Johnny Depp back to his prominence that we haven't seen in forever, really. He's caring again, and this role truly proves it. I really think that serious Johnny Depp is something we don't see nearly enough of. And I'm really curious to see how the general public are going to take to this. Because it's been on a lot of things. I've had to put it on a lot of things lately that don't really make any sense. And I try to watch people's responses to the trailer, and everybody seems to be kind of indifferent to it. It's like, hey, that's Johnny Depp. What's this movie? I don't know. Is it supposed to be funny? No? I really think that this movie is going to be an enjoyable thrill ride of a thriller. Like you said, Scott Cooper, we're going to find out if he can't lose.
And I was trying to remember the last part he had, the last lead part he had, that I really, a lot of people, apparently it's popular now to defend Public Enemies.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
But the last leading role I think I really liked him in was Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, totally.
I was thinking there should have been something since then, but I don't think there is. That I really loved him in, anyway.
I mean, you brought up your cast when AJ was talking about it. I mean, you got Cumberbatch, you've got Joel Edgerton, you've got Dakota Johnson.
Joel Edgerton, I didn't mention.
Jesse Plemons, Peter Sarsgaard's in this, Sienna Miller,
I think
Rory Cochrane,
yeah,
Adam Scott, Juno Temple. This has got a hardcore cast in it.
I think Jesse Plemons is also in the program. He was in something else that was on my list, and I forgot to mention him both times.
So Depp comes back 2 spots on my list. So yeah, this hopefully will be a really good time for Johnny Depp this year. I think it will be. I think this is going to be a good movie. I'm going to go with Southpaw at my number 4 spot because boxing, like I said, I'm a boxing movie fan, and I really enjoy those movies, but Jake Gyllenhaal just looks like a boxer. He just does. He just has that boxer, like, style. He looks like he could pass for a boxer. It looks like he'd pass for a fighter in real life.
When that first still came out, everybody was like, "Holy Jesus!"
Yeah, you've got Forrest Whitaker, you've got Rachel McAdams, and Fuqua's directing.
I'm not quite sure what this means, but my immediate reaction to that is, of course, Forrest Whitaker's in it. I don't know why I think that, but
That feels so bad, doesn't it? And like 50 Cent's in it, and yeah, that's about it. So, but yeah, like he's under Curtis Jackson too. He's under 50 Cent, so I feel like that's kind of cool. I bring up Chris Bridges every time that I talk about something like that. Not going under Ludacris, he goes under Chris Bridges sometimes and Ludacris other times. But now it says Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, like it says Dwayne The Rock Johnson now.
I was gonna say, you're not gonna go through this without mentioning Dwayne.
No, God no, I'm not going to go without mentioning Dwayne at all. But yeah, this is something that I have a lot of hopes for. I think it's going to do really well award season if it doesn't get forgotten. But I don't know when its actual release date is, so I can't say if it's going to be memorable in the award season or not. But I'm guessing a performance like that will probably get a little bit of consideration.
Is it not this month? I think it is.
It's either this. Okay, it might be this month or it might be next month.
But it's not clear whether it's limited or not. That's the issue.
I'm pretty sure it is limited. That's the thing. All right, my number 3 is a movie that I've been excited for ever since I first heard about it. My number 3 is The Walk. And I will be very fortunate to see this in a very awesome way that you would never do in a million years. I'm going to be watching this in IMAX 3D while I'm in Orlando this year. Joseph Gordon-Levitt doing the story from Man on Wire, and this is a movie that should have been made, and when I got the story of Francois Petit, I knew that this had to be an actual movie. The story's too good to be true, but it's real, and it really happened. That's the best part about this. This is something out of a movie, but it really happened. This guy wanted to basically like tightrope walk across the World Trade Center buildings. It's insane.
And it's Zemeckis.
Yeah, exactly. It's Zemeckis back, and we haven't seen him in a long time. The last thing I remember him doing was Flight, and what before that was probably Polar Express.
No, he did that Christmas Carol movie.
So Polar Express.
And there was that long time where he got lost in animation land, and
yeah,
then he came back with Flight. Well, came back. With
yeah,
Flight.
Ben Kingsley's back in this cast as well, and James Badgedale too. Somebody you like to put over on a regular basis. Yeah. So. Yeah, I'm literally looking forward to it. People that have vertigo need not apply, but I have a feeling that Gordon-Levitt's going for something.
Even without the IMAX and all that, just watching it on a regular screen for me is going to be... Like I said before, I cannot watch the time jump scene in Men in Black 3.
Oh my god.
I have to just kind of look off because I can't do that.
No, I totally understand. I'm willingly watching this in IMAX 3D, so... But I'm really, really excited for it. Hopefully Gordon-Levitt's going to finally get some awards love that he truly deserves.
He's got that in Snowden. So.
Yeah, Snowden's going to be big, too.
Oliver Stone, you can't really tell if it's going to be big or not.
It should be big. My number two is Love and Mercy. And I'll tell you right now, my number 2 will hopefully, with all hope in the world, be watched very soon. We'll see. Hopefully that works out. I heard about the story about doing the autobiographical film on Brian Wilson, and when I found out that it was young Brian Wilson was Paul Dano and older Brian Wilson is John Cusack, I was hooked from that moment on. I was like, this is going to be a big deal for me. I mean, I love the Beach Boys music, always have. Jock Sampson, if you're watching this, you'll get the reference. And when it comes down to it, I really think that this movie could be something wonderful. Maybe something that won't necessarily be given the credit it deserves, but I'm really curious to see how great it's going to be, because it looks amazing.
It's another bit of musical biography starring Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, exactly. Giamatti, of course, in this, Elizabeth Banks, and that's pretty much the main cast here. I'm really curious to see how they pull this off. I've always been a fan of musical biopics, and I'm really curious to see if this one lives up to the expectations I have in my head for it. Well, AJ's not alone on top of the mountain here, and I've seen this trailer, so it's a teaser, and it's the biggest tease in the world, but...
The one that doesn't have footage.
Exactly.
It just has the character names.
Oh my god. But still seeing that on the big screen and being able to put that on a movie, I was so happy. I actually put that on things purposely when I don't have anything... I don't have a trailer list of what's supposed to go on there. my number one is also The Hateful Eight. And I've always been a Tarantino fan. Definitely not to the extent of AJ, without a doubt. I think there's no one that's a bigger fan of Tarantino except for Tarantino. And that's probably a shoot right there. That's not disrespect either. I mean, everybody's back here, and except for Waltz, which is sad. But everybody's returning that needs to return. And they did the table read. They did one of the Jason Reitman table reads. And nearly everybody came back for that. And there was a leak of the actual script. And they were deciding if Tarantino was even going to put it out. He was thinking, he was on the bridge for a second, deciding if he wanted to put it out or not. And then we heard he wasn't, and then he finally made the announcement, okay, I'm going to put it out.
Samuel Jackson said it was when they saw the reaction to the table read during it, and they said, you know, if people are going to react this way to just hearing the words, they've got to see it.
Yeah, I mean, you've got everybody back, like AJ was mentioning. The only person not mentioned in this casting that I'm reading here, I don't know, I hope it's not a cameo, because this is really curious to see if this person's actually in a Tarantino movie. It really, like, boosts my expectations for it. That's Jim Carrey.
That is most likely a rumor. That's totally not true.
But you don't know.
Remember when Jim Carrey was supposed to be in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 as Carnage?
Oh, God.
It's really that kind of thing again.
But then again,
and it's also worth noting.
Blame you, Wikipedia. Blame you.
I came across. I unintentionally came across a kind of another homage, because Tarantino loves doing the homage thing.
Oh, of course.
Samuel Jackson's name is Marquis Warren, I think.
Mm-hmm.
In The Hateful Eight. Well, it just so happens I was watching a very Z-grade Western starring Elvis Presley the other day from the 60s. Guess what the director's name was?
Wow.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my god, I get that now, before the movie even comes out.
That's just speculation, though, honestly. Jim Carrey's not in the movie, it's not a big deal.
I
doubt it, too, but could you imagine Carrey working with Tarantino?
It would be very... Yeah.
It'd be great. It'd be totally great. Yeah. Everything about this movie screams awesome to me, and the fact that this is a true Western, like you were saying, I saw my first Western theatrically, like first true Western theatrically, about a month ago, and I was watching The Searchers, and this is not a movie I normally would have flocked to, like ever, but I totally dug the movie.
Pretty much the only reason you went to The Searchers is because I was...
You forced me to. And that Stand Aside, Martin, No You Don't, Ethan, the thing from WDW Today, always makes me laugh. And it reminds me of The Great Movie Ride, which is a part of The Searchers, too. Or Searchers is part of The Great Movie Ride, same thing. But still, I'm really excited for this. And I would not have been excited for this before, unless Tarantino's name was on it. I'd probably been a lot more excited because of that. But Tarantino could write a movie about like the history of vacuum cleaner salesmen, and I'm sure I would go watch it because...
Well, David Russell has a movie coming out about the fucking mop, so...
That's true. That's very true. I don't know if he's going to clean up on that one. Yeah, it's not a very good one. I don't like that. Yeah. Sweep that under the table.
You could have at least said he's going to mop the floor of the competition.
No, that's not how puns work. You're not supposed to use the exact wording. Anyway, as we fight before we go to film another video, that's what we've got for this video, and that's going to be the last time you're going to see us on camera until apparently now the end of next month, which we are going to start earlier than most our official 2015 Academy Awards predictions. Those videos will be starting at the end of August.
And those will most likely be pretty embarrassing unless I can find a Robert Duvall this year.
Well, I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe Shannon will be my Ruffalo, where I predicted Ruffalo for Foxcatcher in 2014.
I don't know exactly who mine is at that point. I guess we'll figure it out. But that's what we've got for these series of videos. Thank you for watching them these past 3 Mondays. And if you're a wrestling fan, join us for the WWE Raw Popcast tonight. Aaron, Ashley, myself, along with our new Raw Popcaster, Victor. That's right. Dr. Emmett Brown 1 from the Horror Nights Updaters will be joining us tonight for the podcast. That will be available on archive on Tuesday. Wednesday will be a brand new edition of NXT. Thursday, Sip and Snack. And Friday, AJ's movie reviews will be tackling Ant-Man 2, Trainwreck, and possibly some limited releases. We'll see. Gaming with Ash on Saturday and Sunday, brand new verses. So check that out. And Halloween Horror Nights news coming very soon. So that being said, I want to thank you guys and girls up there for watching. And that's what we've got for today. AJ, any parting words? And that's all we got to say about that.